Good morning. Standing up here, all I can say is beautiful. Beautiful. The decorations, and most of all, the graduates. They are beautiful. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the DRB Grant Demonstration Basic School Leaving Exercise 2022. I stood here when the youngsters were marching in, and I counted. I had to stop counting because I counted at least 18 photographers. Photographers standing and was just smiling. I stopped counting at 18, and I'm sure there were more. Parents were overjoyed. Well-wishers were happy. But before we got to this point where the photographers came out, I want us to put our hands together for the staff, the teachers, the principal, for the staff of the DRB Grant Demonstration Basic School. They deserve another round of applause, another round of applause. I just want to remind us as parents that we are not the only ones who are parenting our youngsters. The teachers also have a big task, and sometimes I believe even bigger than we as parents. Because for most of us, we send off one child, and one child returns to our homes. And I'm sure as a mother myself, there are times as a parent when you look at that youngster and you say, please be quiet. Can you imagine the teachers in the classrooms with more than one youngster calling to her at the same time, saying, teacher, teacher, teacher. And that teacher is not there pulling out their hairs. They're there with comfort, with compassion, and with love, listening to our little ones. They too help to groom our youngsters. I must share this with us. I visited my niece about 2 months ago, and she have a 5-year-old. I took that 5-year-old to the bathroom to wash her hands. And I think as a mother, you will just put the soap and say, come on, wash your hands. And she looked at me and like, no, auntie, teacher says we go inside and outside and in between. So she was even still at home telling me what teacher says. So let me advise us as parents. When children go to school, as much as they listen to teachers, there are times when they go and they will tell teacher what they hear mommy say or what they hear daddy says without teacher even asking. So they will go and report to teacher what daddy said last night or what they hear mommy said to daddy. And teachers, don't think I'm going to leave you out. Because when they come home as children, they take up the teacher role. They'll be beating the benches and the chairs. And they'll be doing exactly what teacher did at school. So we are all parenting. It's not just us. Because for us to get to this stage, the staff at the DRB Grant Basic Demonstration School helped with the molding, helped to bring them this far, where I could have counted over 18 photographers this morning. And teachers, we applaud you. Teachers, we say thank you for all that you have done and for all that you continue to do. And I believe at this level, the foundation is set. I believe at this level, the foundation is set for any other builder to come and build and to create for us our future lawyers, our future doctors. They start from this level. The foundation is set. Another round of applause for the staff at the DRB Grant. I believe by now you realize that I'm a talker. I had two youngsters, a son and a daughter, who also went through DRB Grant. I can remember an incident with my daughter. She wasn't yet at the graduate level. And I remember she came home one evening with some mathematics. I looked at it, and I still couldn't understand what to do. And I said to her, we won't be doing this. We'll have to tell teacher that we don't understand. And my little daughter looked at me and said, Mommy, I think she was in Miss Smith's class. She said, Mommy, when you get to school tomorrow, you are going to tell teacher that you don't understand, because I tell you what teacher said you are supposed to do. So I can tell you that when they leave here, they are grounded. At this stage, they are grounded. They're solid. They're ready for the next level. So we just give the teachers a big thank you for the effort, for the love, for the care, for the compassion that they showed to our little ones here at the DRB Grant Demonstration Basic School. I'm going to invite you all to stand with me as we turn to the back of our program and sing the hymn, God is Love. Praise him, all ye little children. God is love, God is love. Praise him, all ye little children. God is love, God is love. Love him, all ye little children. God is love, God is love. Love him, all ye little children. God is love. You know, words are powerful, parents, and sometimes we tell our children some negative things. And we tell them how they are not going to come to anything good like them papa. And we tell them how they have no sense. And we call them idiots sometimes. And when we speak these negative voices into the ears of our children, that is what they eventually become. And so I want to challenge the parents in here this morning that you are going to speak words of encouragement to your children. Let them know how beautiful and how handsome they are. Let them know how gifted they are and how special they are. Parents, I want you to speak words of wisdom over your children. Let them know how intelligent they are. Right, children? All right, let's get it settled. Let's get it settled. Let's get settled. Boys and girls, when I say 1, 2, 3, you say 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Shh. Shh. Awesome. Let's keep it like that for a few minutes, all right? All right. Good. So parents, I wanted to challenge you. Speak positive things to your children. But guess what? You can't speak anything positive unless you feed your mind with positive things. So you have to watch the things that you read, parents. You have to watch the things that you listen to. You have to watch the words that you communicate to your children when they are in your presence, because that is what they become. When you carry these children into the world, you get them as clean slates. And what they become tomorrow is going to be as a result of the voices spoken to them during these tender years. And so I want to challenge you, parents. Stop wasting your time on the phones, just watching Netflix and
on WhatsApp and YouTube, watching food, but use the technology that you have to your disposal to listen to inspirational talks. Listen to persons who are great and speak greatness into your children. But if you're only listening to music that are talking about how much woman you must have and what you must do to the woman and speaking about the dance hall, if you listen to those things, that is eventually what it is that you are going to communicate to your children. And so I want to challenge you parents. You know, one of the things that I didn't recognize as a child growing up, I'm a country girl, come from rural St. Elizabeth. And as a child growing up, I never knew that I was poor until I went to high school. All the time I'm growing up, I thought I was wealthy because my parents never allowed us to feel like we were less than anybody else, even when we did not have it. Even when we had to come home for lunch, it was okay. It is not because we were poor, but because today is time to come home for lunch. We are having lunch together as a family. You understand? And so, what you say to your children will impact their lives. What you say to each other in the home, how you fathers, how you speak to the mothers, mothers, how you speak to the fathers, will impact how your children will become later on in life. And so I want to challenge you parents, that as you seek to mold the minds and the lives of these little children, be purposeful about it. Be purposeful about it. Know that if you are going to create great children, that you yourself have to be great. And you know what? Some of you need to go back and realize that you have to improve yourself in order to impact the lives of your children. And because I was introduced that I have been working with HEART for 22 years, I always let persons know that there are endless opportunities for parents that can put you in a better position to impact the lives of your children. Yes? The guest speaker said it earlier, that it is not until COVID that some of us realized that we never know anything about the technology. And nowadays, the children are so smart, they can wrap us around their little fingers with the technology. They can go on all kinds of sites if we are not careful. And so you need to become digitally literate. Teachers, if you are going to create greatness in your children, like what I'm seeing here, aren't you proud of your children? Parents, aren't you proud of your children? Huh? Look what DRB Grant has done for them. You can't go back to where you're coming from with your children. You can only get better and better and better. And in order for you to do that, you have to take up where the teachers have left off. You have to encourage them. You know, I was talking to a young man the other day, and he hated school so much, and it is all because of what a teacher said to him when he was in primary school. How a teacher told him how he was dunce and he was coming to nothing. So he believed it. And so after a while, he did not see the purpose of getting an education. And so he ended up being in crime and violence. Be careful of the voices that speak to your children. Yes? Be careful of the voices that speak to your children. I want to say to our communities, the aunties and the uncles, you too have an impact on these children. And you have to make a difference in their lives. You may remember the days in your communities when you were encouraged by a neighbor, when you were encouraged by a church brother or church sister. Yes? But it is all about all of us. When we look in what is happening around our communities, we ask ourselves the question, when did Montego Bay get to this stage? When did Jamaica get to this stage? And if we don't stop it right now, then we are going to really reap the bitter reward later on. And so I want to encourage us parents. I want to encourage us teachers. I want to encourage us, all the aunties and the mummies and the well-wishers that are here. It has to start with each of us in this church today. It has to be a deliberate effort for each of us to want to make a difference. I share a story with you of my experience as an instructor, as a teacher, and then I'll take my seat. I remember my first year in the classroom. And my first day in the class, a young man walked up to me and said to me, Mrs. Mary, I want to record you when you're teaching because I don't learn so fast. And I said to him, go ahead. Those days we never had phones, it's 20 odd years ago. We never had phones that we could take, we could record them on. So he had that tape recorder that you press with a little cassette inside there. Parents, you know that? Or maybe some of you are too young. Yeah? But 2 weeks into my class, I recognized that he wasn't writing anything. I gave a test, and he was not responding to any of the questions on the test. And I said to Paul, Paul, what is the problem? And he said to me, Miss, I'm going to level with you. I can't read, and I barely can write my name. And I said to Paul, Paul, how did you get into the school? Because you have to pass a test to get here. He said to me, Miss, I believe in God, and I believe that I am destined to be here, and so I'm going to share my story with you. And he told me how somebody gave him a heart form, and he filled out the form with the help of an aunt, brought it in, and was called for the test. He said, Miss, I prayed over the form. When I prayed over the test when I went into the class, and I believe sincerely in the power of prayer. And he shared his story with me. He said, Miss, anything come to my mind, A, B, C, or D, is that machine. Every question that I look at, anything come to my mind, A, B, C, or D, that is what I shared. And to my surprise, they called me that I passed both the maths test and the English test. And so I am here. And you know what? He challenged me. He said, and as my teacher, you have a responsibility to ensure that I learn because God placed me here for a purpose. And those days we were required to give oral, we could have given them oral exams. And so every time I give an exam, I sit with Paul and I ask him the questions. And he tells me the answer. Brilliant young man who just never got the opportunity to learn. And 3 months into the training, I said to Paul, Paul, you cannot come into my hand not able to read and write and leave not able to read and write. You know? I listened to these children perform, and I said to myself, how did I get a student at heart who is unable to read and write? If they go through basic school and they go through high school, how did they get to me unable to read and write? But I was committed to helping Paul, and you know why I was committed? Because he recognized his need, and he was willing to work with me. Not only that, but he had an excellent attitude, always well put together and full of manners. And grandmother said manners carry you through the world. And the truth is that I sat with Paul and we learned. My son was in kindergarten at the time. And I used those kindergarten books to help Paul to read. And within 3 months, Paul said, Miss, you don't have to help me no more. I am ready to do my test all by myself. And he was able to do that because guess what? He was purposeful and he knew what he wanted. And I know that we have some parents among us. You may not be as fast, but there is opportunity available for you to move to the next level. Yeah? The long and short of the story is that when Paul finished level 1, he said, Miss, I'm not ready to leave the school yet. I want to do level 2. And so he enrolled in level 2 and graduated at level 2. The next time I heard from Paul, where was Paul? Paul called me and said, Miss, I'm looking for you for the longest while. But by that time, I had relocated to another institution. And he said to me, Miss, I am now in Paris. Now, this is the same Paul who came from St. Elizabeth and able to read and write, who was now working on a cruise ship and sailing all across the world. I tell you this story to tell you, parents, that you have impact on the lives of your children. I tell you this story, teachers, to let you know that you can make a difference in the lives of your children, but you must be willing to put in the work. You must be willing to empower yourself so that you can empower them. You must recognize, You know, I listened to the scriptures that they read earlier in Jeremiah 29 and verse 11, where it says that, for God said, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans to give you an expected end, to give you hope and a future. That is what the Lord requires for each of these children and for all our parents sitting in the church today. But the ball is in your court. You have to make a difference. You have to make a decision on what it is that you are going to do going forward. And so I started telling my children the story about the carrot, the eggs, and the chocolate. And I want to close my speech today by saying to the parents that you don't have to be pushed over and walk over and allow people to take advantages of you, parents, especially the ladies inside here. You can get yourself a good education and pull yourself to the place where God wants you to be. You don't have to stay in abuse. You don't have to allow your children to come and see that it is okay for fathers to beat mothers and for you to be treated in a particular way. I want to encourage you not to be like the carrots when you in the environment become soft and palatable in the hands of everybody. And I don't want you to become like the eggs either. Don't become the fighters and everything you come to school, come quarrel with teacher, quarrel with your neighbor, and teach your children that it is okay to quarrel and carry on. Do not become like the eggs. But like I told the children, I want you to become like the chocolates, impacting lives wherever you go. One of my philosophy is that whoever comes into my presence must leave better than they came. And so if you have a conversation with me, I must give you a word of encouragement that can lift you from a place where you are to a place where you ought to be. If you call me on the phone, if it's even to close the conversation to say, God bless you, that is my philosophy. But what is it that your children hear when they come out of your presence? Do you bash them? Do you beat them? Do you say negative things to them that puts them down? Or when they come into your presence, they can experience joy because mommy and daddy create such a positive impact. One of my favorite texts in the Bible says that in his presence there is fullness of joy, and at his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Somebody say amen. The balloon responding. So mothers and fathers, teachers and principals, I want to say to you, if you are going to create the kind of impact and the kind of joy that will give these children voices, then you have to spend time in the presence of God. You have to spend time talking to God. You know, I have taken up the habit of reading Proverbs, 1 chapter each day. There are 31 chapters, one for each day of the month. And that will give us wisdom as we seek to guide our children so that they can become instruments and voices of greatness, becoming that which God has called them to be. Because God has said that we are not the head. We are the head, we're not the tail. And I would love to see Montego Bay reclaiming the place that we once had. You know? And it all begins with these voices. 75 voices of greatness. And when I started counting the parents, it's about maybe 150, close to 200. Can you imagine 275 voices of positiveness in Montego Bay? 275 voices that whenever you speak to someone, you speak words of encouragement, words of motivation, words that will lift each other and not tear each other down. And so I challenge you, parents, be the best mother that you can be. I challenge you, fathers, be the best fathers that you can be. Spend time with your children. It's not just today. But when last have you had a football game with your son? Mothers, when was the last time you played Dolly House with the girls? We don't do those things anymore. Everything is online and we give them a tablet. But we need to spend time to nurture the relationship and to build bonds so that our children can be our best friends. May God bless you as you continue to mold and nurture the lives of these wonderful children and create voices of greatness right across St. James. God bless you.
We can give her a better round of applause than that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I want to thank Mrs. Murray for those kind words. She spoke to both parents and children. And I got a few points that I just need to re-emphasize. Talk positive to your children. Instead of say, you're ugly. Say to your child, all right, my lawyer. All right, my doctor. Big up yourself, my pilot. You get what I say? Say, big up yourself, my pilot. Behave yourself, my pilot. Behave yourself. Behave yourself, my lawyer. Behave yourself, my nurse, my doctor. Behave yourself, no man. We're going to talk positive. Especially, shh. You say especially if you're in a church. You say if you're a Christian. It's even worse. Whatever you say to your child, it goes into the atmosphere and it will become as is. I know many parents who tell them picnic say they will go workless and them not gonna make it. And guess what? Then workless and not make it. And then they turn on and cuss the picnic and say, how you become this? But daddy, you did tell me say me go workless. Mommy, you tell me say me not gonna make it in a life. So talk positive to your children. There was an old saying, and I say old saying, children must be seen and not heard. This is my opinion. That's right. Me want to hear from my pitney. My pitney must talk to me. Parents, be your child's friend. Because if you not be them friend, you know, then go find one friend out the road, you know, and that the friend out the road go tell them something different, you know. Be a friend of your child. Mrs. Mary said, spend some time with your children. Talk with them. Let them know that you love them. Know your whereabouts of your children. Nothing wrong with that. All right? I want to thank Mrs. Mary again. And we want to move on in our program this evening, this morning. It's still morning. We're going to be having the item, the dance, the second dance. The second dance. They ready? The second dance. While they're preparing themselves, we want to just thank all the parents for coming out today. It is a special moment, and as the chairman said, and as the guest speaker made mention, they are moving from one stage to the next. Let us be in full support. As the teachers are not having it easy, it can be very complicated to deal with diverse personalities. All right? So the dance group is ready? You see the teacher saying 1 second, 1 second gone. Oh, it's 1 second Jamaican time? 1 second Jamaican time. All right, as they're being prepared, put your hands together for them, ladies and gentlemen. Parents, put your hands together for them. As they entertain us one more time. DRB Demonstration Basic School.
Chosen generation with a call to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am. We are a chosen generation with a call to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm working in power. I'm working miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm working in power. I work in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. We are a chosen generation with a call to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am. We are a chosen generation with a call to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm working in power. I walk in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm working in power. I walk in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. 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 I'm working in power. I work in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm working in power. I work in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. Take a look at me, I'm a wonder. It doesn't matter what you see now. Can you see His glory? I know who I am. Take a look at me, I'm a wonder. It doesn't matter what you see now. Can you see His glory? I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am.
Put your hands together for them. Put your hands together for them. Come on, we can make more noise than that, man. Make some noise to them. Make some noise to them. I can't wait until next year we have the parents them doing the dance. And I make some noise for parents doing dance. And I make some noise to that now. And I make no noise to that the party. Who wants to the parents them next year? The only parents them are making the noise now because they're not there next year. Just want to thank again the teachers, the coordinators for putting together this dance again. Put your hands together for the teachers this time. All right, we're going to be moving into the acknowledgement, and I'm honored to introduce this time the person that is set at the top of things. However, I want to emphasize that she is a very humble person. I don't know what kind of encounter you've had with her, but the encounter that I've had with her, she's a very humble person. And she is the person that is responsible for coordinating and ensuring that the school is up to par, along with the assistance of her teachers and staff that is there with her. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together as we introduce and invite to the podium Miss Heather Wigan, the principal of DRB Grant Demonstration Basic. We can give her a better round of applause than that. Thank you.
All right, boys and girls, my head, my shoulder, my knees, my toes, my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes, my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. All right, don't go from my head, my shoulder, my knees, my toes. While we are singing that song, I'm inviting all school leavers to take their seat. So parents, if you have them beside you, with you, please allow them to come back to their seat. Come again, boys and girls. My head, my shoulder, my knees, my toes, my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes, my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. God made them all. My knees, my toes, my shoulders, my knees, my toes, my shoulders, my... Stronger, my knees. I'm waiting on the others. My toes, my knees, my toes, God made them all. I'm not hearing you. Wonderful. You may sit. So I will take it that the empty chairs or the dancers who are getting themselves back together again. All right, boys and girls, be quiet. I do not want to have to call anybody's name. Report for the DRB Grant Demonstration Basic School for the academic year 2021-2022. Chairman of the Board of Governors of the DRB Grant Demonstration Basic School, Mr. Lincoln James, guest speaker Mrs. Shauna Newsom-Myrie, members of staff, parents, relatives, friends, and most importantly, school leavers of class 2022, good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. It was Essie Timms that said, overcome the odds when obstacles get in your way. The 2021-22 school year began with many challenges experienced by friends and family members of staff. However, with fervent prayers and the help from God, we persevered and overcame the odds. Boys and girls, just be quiet. You will soon be out of here. Sit quietly for me, please, teacher. Teacher. Thank you. Well-wishers, here we are again, face to face, gathered with each other to celebrate this special milestone as we give thanks to our Creator. We had a productive year, and students were prepared at the highest standard at our early childhood beacon here in Catherine Hall, St. James. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our institution's doors were opened physically, that is face-to-face, on October 5, 2021, with 157 students. Commendations to the phenomenal staff for charting the way forward, enabling the successful reopening of school. The face-to-face model of the teaching and learning process registered tremendous improvement in our students' academic performance. Activities. The 2021 to 2022 academic year was one where blessings flowed. Throughout the school year, students, parents, and staff members were engaged in numerous activities such as fire drill and earthquake drill, school harvest. Thank you to all the staff members and parents who helped to make this venture a success. Parent Month celebration, our family luncheon. Thank you again, parents and staff members, for your continued support. Our virtual choral service, Jamaica Day celebration, Play Day Jamaica, Peace Day, Read Across Jamaica Day, Teachers Day. Our Kiddie Bee spelling competition put on by the Kiwanis Club of Providence, Montego Bay. This event was restricted to the speller, one parent, and the teacher, or we could say the coach. The speller was Casey Vassell, who came fourth. Casey, we are so very, very proud of you. Special commendation to Mrs. Brown, the coach, Casey's parents, who believed in her and gave her all the support needed for such great achievement. Labor Day, special thanks to the 3 parents, and members of staff who came out and supported this project. And when I said 3, I recognized that some parents were very keen because I could see the countenance changing. Only 3 parents came out to support the Labor Day project, and I say thank you along with the members of staff. JCDC Festival. We were awarded 2 merits, namely Atalia Smith and Casey Vassell. Two bronze, Rakela Ellis, Navoya Henderson. And 1 silver, Rakela Ellis. Special mention to Tahira Shukan and McKenna Williams. The students, parents, and their coordinators, Ms. Walker and Mrs. Blake, deserve much applause for preparing and executing the task given. This serves as a motivation for better and greater things to come. I want to also encourage the students who will be leaving us to continue with these extracurricular activities. And please, parents, continue to give them your support. Excursion took us to Dunn's River Fall. It was a very successful day. Special award. The Early Childhood Commission gave an award for overall attendance and general performance, which was presented to Rakela Ellis. This award ceremony was held at the Jamaica Conference Center in Kingston. And let me, on behalf of the school, say thanks to Knutsford Express, who financed the trip into Kingston for Rakela. And all this was spearheaded by Miss Ansel, a current parent, and Mrs. Wee Ellis, both past and prospective parents. Despite the pandemic, we ensured that all activities that our students engaged in were immensely beneficial, as well as ensured holistic learning. Parents, your decision to enroll your children in this institution was the best decision. Our dear DRB Grant Basic School has propelled them greatly to successfully transition to the primary or prep schools. We have been richly blessed throughout the school year. Our blessings manifested themselves by ways of sponsorships in cash, kind, and labor that thoughtful individuals saw fit to share with our school. Great leaders do not set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the role, always about the goal. Parents, you are considered to be great leaders. Please remember the goals you have set for yourselves as well as your children. We cannot thank you enough for taking a vested interest in your children's education by volunteering, assisting with homework, donating, and doing whatever was necessary to support your children, both home and at school. Your contributions and hours spent molding your children will only have a positive impact. Concerns and challenges. The Early Childhood Commission's teacher-student ratio was not achieved, but we were able to meet the standard requirement of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Students' personal spaces were achieved and maintained throughout the school year. Acknowledgement. We pause at this time to recognize and say thank you to Ms. Inez, whose tenure came to an end in December. Ms. Inez, we thank you wholeheartedly for your service here. I must say that the children miss you dearly and kept asking, when are you coming back? Let's welcome Mrs. Ellis, who is now on board. Conclusion. The DRB Grant Demonstration Basic School positive impact could not have occurred without the endless energy, skills, and devotion of the DRB Grant School staff. Thanks and well done to an incredible group of professionals. And I'm not sure my parents were listening, so I am going to repeat. The DRB Grant You kept me laughing and young at heart throughout the year. I am grateful for your joy, your smart thinking, and amazing talents. Boys and girls, best wishes, all the best for 2022 and beyond. I will miss you greatly. Sit, boys and girls. And now to my parents, remember, as our theme states, the voice of our children embrace greatness. So always be your child's first teacher in schoolwork and most importantly, social graces and training, teaching them the importance of obedience. Parents, always communicate with your child's teacher, sharing the positive and negative concerns. Teachers appreciate these types of parents. We are all living in a country where money and time are never enough. But parents, try your best with your children with the limited resources you have, as education is their only hope for a better future. And while I was finishing up on my speech, I remember listening to a sermon by Reverend Glenn Samuels. Yes, I was listening to a sermon, and he said, the home forms, and I want you to listen carefully, just in case some of you might have missed it. The home forms the child. The school informs the child. The church transforms the child. But sin deforms the child. Should I say that again? Sit, boys and girls. Because, you see, for me, I get very emotional when I come across some things, because I know I have been in this field for quite some time, and I know how important it is when certain things are said. Sometimes when we hear it at first, we do not get the meaning of it, but we have to repeat it. We have to say it over and over, write it down, so that we can really get the meaning of it. And he said, the home forms the child. The school informs the child. The church transforms the child, but sin deforms the child. So parents, spend quality time with your child. And for every single person who came to this podium have been saying the same thing. Spend quality time with your child. Take the time to hear from them and communicate with them. There is a time and place for everything. So as Mr. Hamilton said, first time they would say you must be seen and not heard. We are saying there is a time and place for everything. To the academic and auxiliary staff, others may feel that the summer holidays are lengthy. It is not. So I am encouraging you to take the holiday and revitalize yourself to start your task again. Best wishes to our school leavers. I pray God will guide each one of your path, so our future, our country, Jamaica, will be a better place to live, to work, raise family, and do business. Good afternoon.
Put your hands together one more time for the principal, Miss Wigan. Doing a wonderful job. I just want to warn the parents. Parents that have one child that is here at DRB Grant when you go to primary school. If it hasn't started yet, I want to warn you. You will be getting projects. You will be getting projects that you and your child have to do together. Some parents don't like it, some parents understand, and some parents appreciate it. This is to encourage you spending some time. So for all those parents who've been through building a hotel, let me see the hands, building the intestine, the teeth, the tongue, the whole body, building a house. You see, in primary school, yes, man, you're going to build a hotel, you're going to build a farm, yes, you're going to come up with some symbols you never remember. You're going to have a lot of printing to do. In the same interim, parents, as Ms. Wigan made mention, please have a relationship with the teachers. It is imperative that we have a relationship with the teachers. Don't come cuss teacher. You can't cuss the person who is responsible to educate your child and expect to get the same result. Can I get an amen? Treat the teachers well. And if something is of concern, talk to the teacher. I grew up in an era where my parents used to say to the teacher, lick him but not kill him. Or save the. We don't have that anymore because parents get bad. And if you lick my picnic, inago go so. So the teachers are afraid to even talk to the. I've been to a school, not going to call no name, and the teacher spoke to the student rough. No beat them, no? Rough. Daddy and his friends them come up there and ask teacher to do that one more time. So guess what happened? That student feels on top of the world, and they do anything and they say anything. But parents, let us be examples and respect the educators. Thank you, Miss Wigan, one more time for the acknowledgement. Put your hands together for her. We're going to be having the presentation of the school leavers. We don't want to be much longer here because I realize that the children are getting agitated. They want to move, they want to leave. So we're going to be having the presentation of the school leavers. Okay, beautiful. The speech, school leavers speech, we're going to be inviting at this time Raquela Ellis and Tyrese Gray. Put your hands together for these two persons. Raquela Ellis and Tyrese Gray.